Welcome back to BNB Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue of power dynamics and relationship turmoil at Forrester Creations. The iconic fashion house has recently experienced significant upheaval, both professionally and personally for those involved, creating ripple effects throughout the Los Angeles fashion scene. The inevitable Logan Forrester reunion. How long before Ridge gravitates back to Brooke? The pattern seems destined to repeat itself. Despite his current cohabitation with Taylor at Eric's residence, Ridge hasn't committed to finding a permanent home with her, a telling sign that this reconciliation lacks permanence. Taylor, unfortunately, stands to become yet another casualty in this decades-long love triangle, a position she's all too familiar with as Ridge consistently returns to Brooke. The heartbreak that awaits her seems invisible to everyone involved, though the signs are clearly there for viewers to see. With Forrester Creations now securely back in Ridge's control, his attention will naturally shift to reclaiming Brooke. Though she no longer holds the CEO position, she continues her work at the company. Ridge will inevitably recognize that throughout the corporate crisis, Brooke was actually working to protect his interests. Once this realization dawns, the artificial barriers between them will dissolve, making their separation appear entirely unnecessary in retrospect. Taylor's temporary comfort. The speed with which Ridge sought comfort in Taylor's arms was remarkable. Barely 24 hours after his relationship with Brooke disintegrated, he found himself in bed with his ex-wife. This wasn't merely a momentary lapse in judgment but the beginning of what appeared to be a renewed relationship. Both Taylor and Ridge relocated to Eric's house, collaboratively envisioning their future together. Meanwhile, despite Ridge's swift replacement of her, Brooke remained willing to reconcile, an offer Ridge declined. Though Ridge and Taylor have been virtually inseparable since their reunion, their reluctance to establish a home of their own speaks volumes about the temporary nature of their reconnection. Industry insiders suggest this arrangement lacks the foundation for long-term stability. Brooke's heartbreak and resilience. Brooke was devastated by Ridge's departure, particularly witnessing how quickly he found comfort with Taylor. Despite the emotional turmoil, she maintained her dignity and even expressed willingness to forgive Ridge's hasty rebound. Her resilience throughout this period demonstrates the depth of her feelings for Ridge, even when faced with rejection. Her position at Forrester Creations, though no longer at the executive level, keeps her in Ridge's orbit, a proximity that will inevitably highlight her loyalty and good intentions during the company crisis. Fashion industry observers note that Brooke's professional conduct during this tumultuous period may ultimately vindicate her in Ridge's eyes. The corporate power struggle resolution. After an extended internal power struggle that threatened the very foundation of Forrester Creations, control has finally returned to the Forrester family, its rightful stewards. The brief but impactful corporate coup engineered by Carter Walton and Hope Logan ultimately dissolved when Carter's conscience prevailed. In a dramatic reversal, he destroyed the LLC documentation and restored ownership to Ridge and Eric Forrester, much to Hope's chagrin. During this turbulent period, Brooke Logan stepped in as interim CEO, a decision that severely damaged her relationship with Ridge. She has consistently maintained that her acceptance of the position was strategically calculated to influence Carter toward ethical action, a claim substantiated by her instrumental role in his eventual change of heart. Carter's ethical awakening. Carter's decision to tear up the LLC papers represented more than a legal transaction. It signified a moral awakening. Despite the potential personal and professional advantages the takeover offered him, his integrity ultimately guided his actions. This ethical stance restored not only the company's leadership structure but also demonstrated Carter's fundamental character. The aftermath of this decision has created complex dynamics within the company, particularly between Carter and Hope, whose ambitious plans were thwarted by his change of heart. Fashion industry analysts suggest this conflict will continue to influence company politics for months to come, potentially creating new alliances and rivalries within the Forrester Creations ecosystem. Hope's ambitions thwarted. Hope Logan's disappointment following Carter's decision reveals her growing ambition within the fashion industry. Her willingness to participate in the corporate takeover marks a significant evolution in her character, moving away from her traditionally more ethical stance. This shift suggests deeper motivations that may continue to influence her actions within the company. The failed coup has positioned Hope in a precarious situation, potentially damaging her standing with the Forrester family while simultaneously demonstrating her business acumen and determination. Industry experts predict this experience may shape her future approach to achieving influence within the company, perhaps leading to more strategic and less confrontational methods. The future of Forrester Creations. With the Forrester family firmly back in control, the company faces the challenge of stabilizing after significant internal turmoil. The power struggle has exposed vulnerabilities in the corporate structure that Ridge and Eric must address to prevent similar situations in the future. Fashion industry insiders suggest this may lead to a comprehensive reorganization of leadership roles and responsibilities. The personal relationships entangled with professional positions create additional complexity for the company's future. As Ridge navigates his romantic life between Taylor and Brooke, these personal decisions will inevitably influence the workplace atmosphere and potentially impact business decisions. The coming months will reveal whether Forrester Creations can maintain its creative vision and market position while its leadership navigates these personal and professional challenges. Next, we will learn about the issue surrounding Hope Logan's career trajectory and why her departure from Forrester Creations might actually be the blessing in disguise she desperately needs right now. A fresh start for Hope Logan. The iconic restaurant Il Giardino, owned by Hope's father Deacon Sharp, could use a complete image overhaul after being the site of two tragic employee murders. The establishment's reputation has been severely damaged by these horrific events, creating the perfect opportunity for Hope to step in as an event planning specialist. Deacon would undoubtedly be overjoyed to welcome his daughter into the family business, giving her the chance to showcase her creative talents in an entirely new industry. With her eye for aesthetics and understanding of luxury clientele, Hope could transform Il Giardino from a crime scene into Los Angeles's premier dining destination. Alternatively, Spencer Publications presents another intriguing career path for Hope. Bill Spencer's media empire has long lacked a fashion division, creating a perfect niche for Hope to fill. This strategic move would not only allow her to utilize her industry expertise but could potentially reignite her relationship with Liam Spencer. The former couple would have daily opportunities to collaborate professionally, rekindling their connection organically through shared projects. Liam, who has experienced a notable absence of romantic prospects lately, would likely welcome Hope's presence in his professional sphere with enthusiasm. Breaking free from fashion's chains. Perhaps the most radical option would be for Hope to abandon the fashion industry entirely. After years of being entangled in the drama and politics of Forrester Creations, a complete career change might provide the psychological reset she desperately needs. The fashion world has become increasingly toxic for Hope, contributing significantly to her recent personality shifts and questionable decision-making. A fresh professional identity could help her rediscover her authentic self, away from the pressures and rivalries that have defined her existence for so long. The Logan women collectively have the talent, connections, and experience to establish their own formidable fashion house. Hope, alongside her mother Brooke, could recruit Katie and Ivy to join their entrepreneurial venture, effectively creating a powerful competitor to Forrester Creations. This bold move would not only demonstrate their independence but would serve as the ultimate statement to the Forrester family that the Logans are not to be underestimated or mistreated. The toxic Forrester environment. Remaining at Forrester Creations makes little logical sense for Hope at this point. She herself has repeatedly characterized the company culture as toxic, yet has clung desperately to her position there. This contradiction suggests an unhealthy attachment that has contributed to her downward emotional spiral. The company has become a breeding ground for her worst impulses, feeding her obsession with the Forrester family and their approval. True healing can only begin once Hope physically removes herself from this environment. The Logan family has consistently found themselves serving as convenient scapegoats for the Forresters' problems. This pattern of blame and manipulation has created a dysfunctional dynamic that cannot be resolved while Hope remains professionally tethered to them. A clean break would allow her to establish healthier boundaries and reclaim her personal power outside the shadow of the Forrester legacy. Hope's revenge-driven decisions. The deterioration of Hope's relationship with Thomas Forrester marked a significant turning point in her character development. The once optimistic and principled woman transformed into someone driven by vengeance and spite. Her impulsive kiss with Finn was clearly motivated by a desire to wound Steffi by damaging her marriage, a subconscious attempt to inflict the same pain she felt when her own relationship collapsed. When this revenge tactic backfired spectacularly, Hope quickly pivoted to a new strategy involving Carter. Their relationship, fueled primarily by physical attraction and shared resentment, became a vehicle for Hope's ambitions to seize control of Forrester Creations. She actively encouraged Carter to wrest the company from the Forrester family, revealing her desperate desire to usurp Steffi's position of power and influence. However, Hope quickly discovered that Steffi's leadership role came with challenges she wasn't prepared to handle. The silver lining of termination. Steffi's decision to terminate Hope's employment has provoked intense outrage from the Logan heir, but this reaction fails to acknowledge the potential freedom this dismissal offers. Rather than viewing this as a professional setback, Hope should recognize this as an opportunity to break free from a cycle of toxicity and resentment that has fundamentally altered her character for the worse. The irony of Hope's situation lies in her continued attachment to an institution she openly criticizes. Her determination to remain at Forrester Creations despite acknowledging its negative influence on her well-being suggests a deeper psychological dependency that requires addressing. Steffi's firing decision, while professionally painful, may ultimately serve as the catalyst Hope needs to pursue healthier professional environments. Rebuilding an authentic identity. Hope's obsession with all things Forrester has contributed significantly to her recent identity crisis. Her self-worth has become inextricably linked to her position within the company hierarchy, causing her to lose sight of her own values and principles. A complete separation from Forrester Creations would force Hope to rediscover who she truly is outside of this toxic relationship. The possibilities for Hope's future are virtually limitless if she can summon the courage to envision a life beyond the confines of Forrester Creations. Whether she joins forces with her family to create a competing fashion house, brings her fashion expertise to Spencer Publications, or reinvents herself completely in her father's restaurant business, the key to Hope's happiness lies in embracing change rather than clinging to a painful past. Hope Logan stands at a critical crossroads. The path forward requires courage, self-reflection, and a willingness to leave behind the familiar, even when that familiarity has become destructive. For viewers who have followed Hope's journey, her next chapter promises to be one of the most compelling yet, if she can recognize that Steffi's decision to fire her wasn't an ending, but rather the beginning of something potentially much more fulfilling. Next, we will learn about the issue of power dynamics and emotional fallout at Forrester Creations following recent dramatic events that have left the company's hierarchy in turmoil and several key relationships hanging by a thread. Sheila Carter Sharp has found herself momentarily captivated by an unexpected family connection, her newly discovered granddaughter, Luna Nozawa. This temporary distraction creates a fascinating window of opportunity for Brooke and Deacon to strengthen their bond, away from Sheila's typically disruptive influence. Their shared concern for Hope's emotional well-being could serve as the catalyst that brings these two former flames closer together, reigniting old feelings that have long simmered beneath the surface of their complicated history. Brooke Logan currently finds herself in an emotional wilderness with no clear route back to Ridge Forrester's heart. Steffi, channeling her grandmother's assertive nature, has been vocal and unrelenting in her belief that Brooke manipulates men for her own advantage. This accusation was boldly reiterated during the tense gathering at Forrester Creations where Hope's dismissal became official. Despite Brooke's efforts to sway Carter's decision, it was ultimately Daphne Rose who proved instrumental in changing his course of action. Had Brooke been the one to successfully influence Carter's change of heart, Ridge might have viewed her more favorably, but fate had other plans. Ridge's commitment to Taylor Hayes stems from a foundation of trust that Brooke has been unable to rebuild. This emotional impasse leaves Brooke without a straightforward path to reconciliation with the man she truly loves. The situation grows more complex as Deacon steps in to console their daughter and potentially mediate the growing tension between Hope and Brooke, inevitably placing Deacon and Brooke in closer proximity than they've experienced in quite some time. Hope Logan has come to the painful realization that her professional future at Forrester Creations has reached an abrupt conclusion. While Steffi firmly believes Hope manipulated Carter for personal gain, Hope's perspective appears quite different. She may have genuinely developed feelings for Carter while simultaneously benefiting from their alliance. This would explain her heightened vigilance during their brief period of leadership at Forrester Creations. Carter maintained the optimistic belief that he could justify his actions and preserve his relationship with Hope. However, early indications suggest that Hope will distance herself from Carter, confirming the predictions made by both Steffi and Ridge. The loss of her fashion line has understandably devastated Hope, leaving her emotionally fragile and confrontational with her mother. In this vulnerable state, Deacon's supportive presence has become a crucial emotional anchor for Hope as she navigates this professional and personal crisis. Steffi Forrester Finnegan executed a brilliantly calculated strategic maneuver during the pivotal meeting. With remarkable tactical precision, she presented her position to the assembled group in Forrester Creations' executive suite. Her opening statement to Brooke and Carter emphasized the paramount importance of her grandfather and father as the company's principal designers, asserting their significance above all others, including Carter or any member of the Logan family. This shrewd display of authority began with Steffi outlining her rationale for retaining both Brooke and Carter, effectively portraying herself as reasonable and fair-minded. Her subsequent move was equally masterful, acknowledging Brooke's valuable contributions to the company and Ridge's unwavering support for Carter. Steffi then strategically placed the blame squarely on Hope, holding her responsible for negatively influencing Carter's decision to seize control of the company. While Steffi's reasoning on this final point could be considered highly subjective, it received crucial endorsement from both Eric and Ridge, effectively sealing Hope's fate within the organization. Eric Forrester supported Brooke's continued employment, while Ridge's primary concern centered on retaining Carter's services. Ridge made no attempt to conceal his feelings regarding what he perceives as Brooke's betrayal of both him and his family. Despite losing her temporary position as acting CEO, Brooke has maintained her long-held role within Forrester Creations, returning to the position she has occupied for years with distinction and creative vision. Carter Walton's unexpected decision to restore power to the Forrester family blindsided Hope Logan, who never anticipated this sudden reversal of their shared strategy. This pivotal choice directly resulted in Steffi Forrester Finnegan terminating Hope's employment at the company, creating a professional crisis that has sent shockwaves through Hope's life and career aspirations. The aftermath of this decision continues to reverberate throughout the halls of Forrester Creations, testing loyalties, challenging relationships, and forcing everyone involved to reconsider their priorities and allegiances in this high-stakes fashion world where business and personal lives remain inextricably intertwined. The Bold and the Beautiful continues to explore these complex dynamics as characters navigate the treacherous waters of power, loyalty, and love. The coming weeks promise to reveal whether these fractured relationships can be mended or if the current tensions will lead to even more dramatic confrontations and unexpected alliances. As the dust settles from this corporate upheaval, the personal consequences for everyone involved may prove far more significant than any business decision could ever be, reshaping the landscape of relationships that have defined this fashion dynasty for generations.